approaching National Street.
Let's get moving. This is going to be the test of the rear motor. We're at 25. I'm not sure what's wrong with that horn, but dude, that horn sounds a mess. Alright, so we're gonna test it. It's either gonna blow out here or we are gonna continue to keep going. So far, she's climbing. Let's go, Zen. We're in. Not only did Zen do it, then Zen did it with very little effort. Now, we took down half the damn battery, but but it is what it is. About to get off the phone, brother. About to not be on the phone, man. Not the best place for you to be, sorry. So it didn't die, you guys. All right, so you know this is our Friday, so won't be on the bikes or scooters, none of that. So I will see you guys on what, Monday? Yeah, I'll see you on Monday. Thanks for hanging out. All right, you guys, so day is finished. We are expecting rain, so with that being said, we're going to make sure we have our app open and ready, and we should be good to go. I do need to replace these gloves at some point too. These are my favorite gloves. They were also the gloves, the first gloves that I had my very first accident in. So I wear them in remembrance of that, not to be afraid. But we're gonna cut this down from sport to comfort because it's wet outside and we don't need all of that torque zipping around. We'll be fine. We'll get there just fine without slipping and sliding all over the place. Actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was out here, but that usually happens when it rains in downtown Chicago, especially if it's like torrential rain. Yeah, it's a big deal. Oop, that could have been an accident. I heard that. So far, to give you an update on what's going on with the rear motor, there hasn't been any update, at least yet, on like it being affected with the grip or any of that. It's still working outside of the vibration that you feel. There's not anything that I can see that's a huge issue. And normally I would have music on, but I'm just not feeling it. Not feeling any music today. Not necessary. So the test for this will be when we get to climbing the hill at home. That is an 11% grade, and we'll kind of see how things unfold there. But as it stands right now, there's not a huge concern. Obviously, you want to be safe, so I would never advise someone to do this. But keep in mind, this particular scooter only has like 202 miles, or at least that's what it's calculating, 202 miles, because sometimes I ride this without the opening up the app. So at 200 miles, you should not have legitimately huge issues with your tire. But I did reach out to the manufacturer, so I did reach out to Apollo. Apollo sent a notification back, and you can look at the screen. They basically said, hey, this situation was caused by a dent in your motor. We recommend that you replace the rear tire. Legitimate ask. So that is what I will do. I'm just not going to do that yet. I'm going to get some wear out of these tires that I already have that are brand new, and figure out some other things later on. Do we advise it? No. Do I advise that for anybody? No, I don't. I would tell anybody like, hey, if you're having this type of issue, change out your rear tire, but you may not be able to afford that given the current climate. Completely understand that as well. So I'm not willing to pay a tariff price for replacement of my rear motor until I have to. Ooh, nice. Love that bike. So, if you guys remember this morning, it was super quiet and kind of serene, but this is a city, so you're always going to have somebody moving around. Single motor. Interesting. Okay. All right. We made it here. Safe and sound. Even in the rain. It's more like, it wasn't really raining. It was more like drizzle. Alright, let's get this closed. Get the lights out.
Going down. Doors closing. Lobby.
Lobby.
Doors opening. Going up.
All right, since it is our Friday. Have a good weekend. The train should actually be here already. Everybody's just loading. Look at that. Perfect timing. Alright, I'll see you guys when we get home. Well, that's something different that the Apollo Go has with the app update, is to check the tires. So that's really different. Well, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. We are taking the Apollo Go. As you guys know, the Apollo Go right now has a slight vibration in the rear motor. So, oh, this isn't comfort. I was like, why is this not torquey? Much more torquey than that. So there's a slight vibration in the rear tire. I have it aired to 50 psi today. We're doing a little bit of testing on this rear motor, so you guys know what's going on. So the recommendation has been to replace this rear motor. The rear motor does work as advertised, even with the recommendation to change it. We need to be aware of our speed and everything else. It's a little nippy today. A little nippy. So, I'm hoping you guys are doing good. This has been a beautiful week. If you haven't had a chance to get outside and get your scooter ready for this season, this would definitely be the time to do that. Get it all ready and cleaned up and washed, hopefully. If you're like me, mines are quite dirty. I spend a lot of time riding them, so I don't always clean them. That's just a habit I have to get into. And how do you guys clean your scooters? I know there are different people do different things. I use products, because right now, as far as I know, there's not a line of scooter products for cleaning. Not yet. Not that I am aware of. But that may be something, like specifically products, like there are products made for cars, for example, and it helps to maintain the paint and all of those things. We don't have that in the scooter community, so that's a thought. Maybe create something. You can wash this because this is water resistant. It has a really high IP rating. So I may just hose it off this weekend, but I don't know that that's the ideal way to do that. All right, you guys, we are underway. We are at Union Station, and this is our Friday, so we are all set to go. We are still doing some testing on the rear motor for the Apollo Go and seeing what it can do. So this is going to be a hot take because the people that are in the scooter community would never do this. They would be too afraid. And, fear is justified. And so, what would cause the fear is the fact that there is a known defect in the rear motor. Now, I know that there is a bulge on the left-hand side of this motor. However, that has not stopped this motor from working ideally and still moving without an issue. So we are going to keep pushing that accordingly and push where we need to go. and we will continue to keep doing that until we need to make some changes.
Train 301, the Lincoln service. Train 301.
So I have made sure that because this scooter won't do what yesterday's scooter did. When you put this too close to the throttle, it gets caught under the throttle and then you can't move properly. So we'll see. We're gonna go ahead. By the way, not sure if you guys can see that.
Going up.
I will assume you can. 201 miles today. 201 miles. 200.1, not 201. 200.1. So we are riding at 200 miles on the scooter's name is Zenyatta, named after one of my favorite characters and a video game that I was absolutely obsessed with. So let's get moving. Now, what I have noticed with this rear motor, as I have been learning this process, right, that the rear motor at really lower speeds, so in eco, for this scooter, you run into some major like vibrations. Not as prominent as you're going faster, but definitely prominent as you're slowing down. Very calm morning. Nice e-bike. A little thin, but nice e-bike. Today, while I'm thinking about it, today we have a food truck coming in, which will be nice. Our building is giving a complimentary lunch today, so it's really nice. So far, not noticing any balance issues, not noticing any braking issues. Things seem to be quite stable, at least in my opinion. I'm not noticing anything majorly different. We've hit the 25 miles an hour. No issues with braking so far, no issues with speed degradation or any of that. We've been hitting, and the motors are running at about 77 degrees, so they're not overheating by trying to compensate. So if the rear motor was failing, then you might see some degradation in the scooter, and the motor, the rear motor would be overheating. So that is not happening. So that's pretty good. So let's go out here. For some reason, my body is craving pineapple. Could be this whole green color and the high vis, I don't know, but my body is screaming for pineapple. Well, citrus period right now, so not sure where that's coming from, but it is. All right, let's rock and roll, you guys. Can't believe 200 miles on this scooter. Done and dusted. On its way to the first 500. Interesting. Body is craving pineapple and peanut butter. Might be in need of something, so we'll figure it out. All right, this is where our phone fell in yesterday's video. Because it is rather smooth. They smoothed this part out, thankfully. We still have some bumps. So, the reason why we were going over those bumps is specifically to test this rear motor. And again, this isn't what other people would do. They would just say, hey, you've got a rear motor issue, which isn't the case. It's not the rear motor, it is the tire, and it is a bulge on the left that is causing the tire to vibrate, when it's rolling. That's what's happening. We made it to the office. Since we made it to the office, we're going to go in here and give them their 8 hours that they pay us for, and then we're going to head home. I'll see you guys in 8 hours. Yes.